Well, good afternoon from the deep within the bowels of the Frugal Amps tone room. I have here a Tweed Bassman Super Probe. Actually, this one is 115-inch speaker. That circuit with that speaker was known as the Tweed Pro amp back in the 50s. And this is a reproduction of that amp. It's got a 115-inch WGS speaker. It's built into a Mojitone Tweed cabinet. It has, let me just give you a close-up here. It's got, oh my gosh, I dropped the camera. I hope I didn't make anyone seasick or ill. This has got two sets of inputs for the volume, two volumes, a bright and a normal, and it has a bright and a normal set of input jacks. It has a bass, a middle, and a treble control as well. So that's pretty much the standard mid-size Tweed configuration from Fender back in the day. And I'm going to play it here with my shop Strat. I'm in the shop, so I'm using the shop Strat, which is a just a made in Mexico Strat, and it's got a humbucker in the that I butchered into the bridge. And we'll play it. I've got the controls about 4.5 on the normal channel. Single coils down here are a little bit noisy because I'm surrounded by fluorescent lights. I'm going to turn the pickup volume down to about 6. Just play the clean signal. Louder. It's that's those in between sounds. When you play with a humbucker, if I open it up, this amp has a first preamp tube is a 12AY7, which is one of the lower gain of the family of the 12AX7 style dual triode preamp tube. So it's on the low gain side. If you put a 12AX7 tube in there, which is the highest gain in that family, it will overdrive a lot sooner. Let's play this at about 8, which is going to be pretty loud. that's really loud sitting next to it here. It puts out about, I'd say close to, it's about 30 watts. It's a cathode biased amp, so it doesn't quite put out the same wattage as a fixed bias would, but it has that tweed, kind of that tweed breakup characteristic that's so sought after in these amps. If you were to put a more powerful preamp tube in that first spot, it would get that kind of gain lower down on the volume. That was 8. It gets really loud at 12, and my poor camera would just explode, I think, with the mic. So, anyways, it's a but you can get a lot of variability even with it cranked up like that by just your the volume control on your guitar. Still can get a nice clean sound out of it. You can get a nice clean sound of it just by turning it down, and you can turn it up loud for it. It sits right in between the Tweed Deluxe and the Tweed Bassman in terms of its power, its tone. It's not quite as clean as a Bassman is at the louder volumes, but it's got a little more. It's got a lot more headroom than a Tweed Deluxe does at these kind of volumes. So it takes pedals really well. It takes all kinds of effects really well. It's with a 15-inch speaker in here. It's got a lot of bass. I have the bass kind of turned down a little bit here. In a bigger room with where it can breathe more, you could really open it up. But it's a nice sounding amp. The speaker's new, so it needs to wear in a bit as they do over time. But it's ready to go here in the Frugal Amps Tone Dungeon. So thanks for hanging in there with me. Sorry about dropping the camera.